Hi everyone, welcome back to My Service Dog and Me. Today we are going to be talking about the super important topic of socialization. Because socialization is perhaps like one of the biggest things that is either going to set your puppy up for future success as a service dog or set you and your puppy up for future challenges in your service dog training. So I wanted to talk about the who, what, when, and why, and where. Who, what, when, where, why, right, of socialization. We're not going to go quite in that order, but those are the topics that we're going to hit. Now, if you have any questions about any of this, the best place to answer or to ask those is always going to be in our free Facebook group, Train Your Service Dog with Confidence, and you can, of course, find that link in the description below. So let's jump in with the who is socialization for. Socialization is for dogs of all ages, but especially those under the age of 2. Socialization really is a continuous process. It's not something that you're just going to do while your dog is a puppy of a certain age and then check it off and be done with it. Socialization is actually an ongoing process that's really important for you to continue throughout your dog's life, but especially until he's fully an adult, which I generally consider to be the age of 2 years old. Until 2, we're not really dealing with an adult, we're dealing with an adolescent of some kind. So we really want socialization to continue throughout our dog's whole young life, all the way up until 2. There is a big sort of, I don't want to say myth about socializing puppies because there's some truth to it, but there's a misconception that socialization happens until 12 weeks and then the window closes and then that's it. Socialization doesn't happen anymore. But that's not quite true. There is an optimal window for socialization between the ages of like 8 and 12 weeks for a puppy. But at 12 weeks, we don't just slam the window closed and all hope is lost. It's something we want to continue throughout our puppies, like I said, all the way up until 24 months. So, what is socialization and why should we do it? Because this is where we really get into what I would consider to be some myths about what socialization is. And the truth about socialization is that socialization done poorly can actually do more harm than good. So it is something that we want to be approaching correctly. And I'm not going to say there's only one correct way to socialize a puppy, but there are certainly some myths that can get in our way. So when I ask people, what does socialization mean to you? Usually I get answers like introducing the puppy to places, people, and things. Or getting the puppy used to things, in quotes. Or making the puppy comfortable around different people and dogs. These aren't wrong, okay? They're just not the whole picture. So yes, when I am socializing a puppy or an adolescent of any age, I do want to expose them to places and people. I want them to become social. This is a piece of socialization, but it isn't actually the entire thing. So I want to look at just a couple quick definitions so we can kind of get on the same page about what we're talking about when we talk about socialization, okay? So if we look in kind of a dictionary, we'll find something that says a continuous process whereby an individual acquires a personal identity and learns the norms, values, behaviors, and social skills appropriate to his or her social position. There's a few things I want you to really pay attention to here. First, a continuous process. So it's not something we do one and we're done with, right? It's that continuous process. And also, we're talking here about learning norms, values, behavior, and social skills. So we aren't just becoming comfortable and confident with other people or other animals or whatever. We're actually learning what's normal. We're learning behaviors. We're learning social skills. Social skills don't necessarily involve running around and enthusiastically greeting every single person that you see, right? And of course, the socialization process in humans is going to look very different based on the culture that you're raised in, the family that you're raised in, and things like that, right? What is normal in one country for social interactions or one culture can be vastly different in another culture. So I also really like Laura Van Ardenach-Baugh's definition in her puppy book. I'll make sure that puppy book is linked below because it's fantastic. She says that socialization is the acquisition of cultural habits and social communication, that equip an individual to live in society. So the acquisition of cultural habits and social communication that equip an individual to live in society. So when I look at these two definitions and I start to apply them to training a service dog puppy, my mind immediately is going to, okay, socialization is about teaching confidence and social skills. Yes, it's about teaching what is normal. It's about teaching my puppy what normal looks like in the world of a service dog. And that's going to take time. Again, socialization is an ongoing process. This is going to go through your 2-year mark at least. This is an ongoing thing. But we're talking about what is normal, and that is what we're trying to expose our puppy to. So the question becomes, what does normal mean to you when you're raising a service dog puppy? For me, it would mean an adult service dog that can walk into any environment and ignore the sound, smells, people, and animals. So I want my dog, in order to walk into any environment, he does need to be comfortable, confident, social, optimistic, all of these types of things. He also needs communication skills with me so that we can work together as a team. He also needs to be able to ignore everything that he's coming across, right? And ignoring things doesn't, if we want our service dogs to ignore things when they grow up, then teaching them now to go interact with everybody they meet is actually going to make things a little bit more challenging than we need it to be. So when I'm socializing a puppy, I focus on 4 things. Focus and the ability to ignore people and dogs. Again, this is not something that an 8-week-old puppy is going to master. This is something that takes a significant amount of time and training. But we're going to start this right away. Focus on me and the ability to ignore people and dogs. Confidence, optimism, and trust while still remaining calm, so that I have a dog who can confidently and optimistically walk into different environments, trust me, and also remain calm. Again, we're going to build 2-way communication so that the puppy and I can communicate with each other, so the puppy knows what to do when he feels nervous or something like that. And we're going to balance calmness with reinforcement strategies. So again, none of this happens overnight. So I don't want anybody to look at their 12-week-old puppy and go, oh, my dog doesn't do any of that. Well, right, because he's 12 weeks, right? He's a puppy or he's an adolescent and he's got a learning phase to go through. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a process, and it's a process that overlaps heavily with training. So when I'm going to socialize a puppy, it isn't just about going places and getting treats and getting to play with other dogs. It's also about learning how to be around those other people and dogs and in those environments. This is something that we hit very heavily on inside of our foundations course, which you can of course find the information in the link below. And we actually, depending on when you're watching this video, we have a webinar, a web class all on socialization, the mistakes, how to do it, step by step, everything like that. So that is today is March 13th as I am recording and uploading this. We're going to be doing that web class in our foundations course on March 24th of 2023. So if you are watching this ahead of time, if you want to join now and be able to come to that masterclass live, you can do that. If you're watching this after March 24th of 2023, then you can find the replay if you'd like to join and catch that. So let's talk about when you should socialize your puppy, okay? Because this is a big thing. And again, so not just when as in age, because we already talked about socialization being for dogs of all ages, but especially from puppyhood through 24 months or 2 years, right? But I also find that when we talk about socialization, there are 2 camps. One that says you shouldn't be taking your puppy anywhere until their vaccines are fully done, which is 16 weeks, which is well after that optimal socialization window. We also have another camp who's kind of like, as soon as your puppy comes home, start taking them everywhere with you, right? So this is how I think, this is when I think we should start socialization. So there are some prerequisites. I want to have started building a relationship with the puppy. So if I have to travel, so when I picked up Leo, the puppy in this picture, he was on the East Coast, I live in Wisconsin, we had to travel home, which means we had to do some of this relationship building as socialization was happening. But if I have a puppy coming home locally, we're going to build a relationship before I take them off my property for socialization. So they know who I am, I know who they are, and we just have started building that relationship, okay? This generally with a puppy, we're talking a few days here, but I want to have started building that before I start introducing my puppy to all these other brand new things. Second is I want a fluent attention loop. So I want to have taught my dog the marker, my puppy, dog, whatever, the marker, and how to do an attention loop, how to offer his attention to me. I'm going to link the video down below where I show you exactly how to do this in a YouTube video. I did this a few weeks ago. I'll put that link below so you can see exactly what I mean by attention loop and how to train it. But I am not personally going to be taking a puppy out for socialization until that behavior is fluent at home. Not sit, not stay, not come. I want the puppy to be able to look at me. Most puppies, again, can learn this within a couple of training sessions at home. And third, I want veterinary approval before I take my puppy off my property for socialization. Because while as a trainer who's worked with a huge variety of dogs and in a huge variety of areas, not just service dogs, but pet dogs and working dogs and all these different classifications of types of dogs, I do believe very strongly we need to get the socialization process started before their vaccines are over, which is 16 weeks. We lose a lot of time when we wait for that. However, this is big. We need to make that decision with our vet because your vet, if for no other reason, then your vet is the expert on what is happening in your area right now. So for example, maybe you live somewhere where parvo is just a huge issue. Like it is just a consistent, big concern for young puppies. Then maybe you are going to wait until your puppy is 16 weeks old to do most of your socialization because it is actually a very large concern where you live. Maybe there is a current distemper outbreak where you live. For example, I had a puppy come home once when we were having a big kennel cough outbreak in our area. Like it was everywhere. Tons of dogs were getting this variant of kennel cough. And so in that case, my vet was like, we're having this huge outbreak of kennel cough. You're going to want to wait until X amount or do socialization in this way because he's, too young to be exposed to that safely. So you want to talk to your vet about what the specific hazards are in your area, if there are any outbreaks. You want your vet to be a part of this decision. So if we didn't have to think about physical health, I would say absolutely 8-week-old puppies should start to be socialized. But we do need to take their physical health into consideration, right? We want to balance these things. So you need to talk to your vet and make sure that your vet is on board. And make sure that not only that you don't just talk to them about what is going on in your area, but how that disease transmits from dog to dog, and ask for their help on how you could start getting some socialization in. So for example, if there's a parvo outbreak in your area, talk to your vet about how parvo transmits from dog to dog, or if it's kennel cough, or if it's fill in the blank case, because just like with people, these different things are going to transmit differently. So it might be safe for you to take your puppy out if you keep them in a stroller where they're not touching the ground. It might be safe if you take your puppy out as long as they don't come nose to nose with any other dog. It depends on what is going on in your area, and your vet is going to have the answer to that. So always talk to your vet before you start taking your puppy off your property for socialization. Now, the last piece I want to talk about is where should you socialize your puppy? Because this, again, is something that I see myths and things handled poorly. So I think we're actually going to do a YouTube video just on the top mistakes people make in socialization. But where is it going with that? Oh, yes. Where should we socialize your puppy? So, where should you socialize your puppy? This is the next thing that I wanted to talk about because, like we just said, you need to talk to your vet about when you can start to take your puppy off your property for socialization. However, even within that, where we're working with our vet as a team always, there are still some other things to think about when you start talking about where you are actually going to take your puppy for socialization. First, I like to make sure that I'm taking my puppy under 16 weeks because they won't have had their vaccines finished yet. I'm going to be taking them to places with low dog traffic. So I'm not going to be taking them to the pet store. I'm not going to be taking them to the dog park because even if there's nothing going around in my area and my vet has approved me for socialization trips out into the world, I still don't want to expose my young puppy to where there's lots and lots of dog traffic, okay? Because I don't know what those dogs have. I don't know their vaccination status or their health status. So I'm going to pick places that don't have a lot of dog traffic as a starting point. Secondly, I'm also going to choose areas where my puppy can socialize um, relatively freely and without too much commotion, because I don't want them to be overwhelmed is basically what I'm saying here. So when I'm first starting to socialize a puppy, we're going to go to quiet empty parks that don't get a lot of dog traffic. We might go to a parking lot after store hours that doesn't get a lot of dog traffic. So like the parking lot of a store that is not a pet store, once that store is closed, that parking lot's probably going to be pretty quiet. There's not going to be a lot of dog traffic, those types of things. I want my puppy to be successful. I don't want them to be overwhelmed. I don't want them to be fearful. I really want my puppy to have good experience. Okay, we can always go back for more socialization, but we can't undo a scary situation. So we are going to do a video on the top mistakes that I see people make in socialization, how to avoid them. That will be coming up sometime in the next couple of months. But in the meantime, this is my quick video on what socialization is, when you should do it, how to, some of these types of tips. And remember, if you want to kind of do the deep dive on exactly how to do socialization, exactly how to avoid the most mistakes and be able to get your questions answered, then go ahead and sign up for our foundations course. That link is in the description below. And on, like I said, March 24th of 2023, we will be hosting a live web class in our foundations course all about socialization, where we're going to look at videos, we're going to talk about problem solving, how to do it, everything like that. If you join us before March 24th of 2023, you can join that live and you can chat with me and get all your questions answered. If you join after that date, the replay will be in there for you. So I hope that you're having a great day. I would love to see you inside the foundations course if you feel like it's a good fit for you. Otherwise, I will also see you in the next video. Bye.